So, what if your AI got it wrong? I mean, really wrong. Like, so wrong that it brings your entire company crashing down. Well, that's not some far off sci fi scenario. It's exactly what happened to Zillow. They bet the farm on their algorithm's ability to predict the future. And, well, they paid a huge price when that bet went south.
All right, so let's get into it. To really get what went wrong, you gotta understand what Zillow was all about. For years, their entire brand was built on data, right? Their Zestimate tool, it was a household name. It gave millions of us this instant magic number for what our home was worth. It was kind of the poster child for using data to make sense of the super complicated world of real estate. And riding that high, Zillow decided to double down. No, triple down. They went all in on this data-first idea.
And that massive bet had a name: iBuying. And honestly, it was a pretty revolutionary idea. The thinking was, hey, instead of just estimating home values, what if we just became the market? So the whole iBuying thing is basically using tech to give you an instant cash offer on your house. The goal? To get rid of all the annoying parts of selling a home. You know, no showings, no back and forth negotiations, just a super fast, clean sale. Zillow buys your house, maybe touches it up a bit, and then flips it on the open market for a profit.
And when you lay it out like this, the whole strategy looks incredibly simple, almost too simple. It's just 3 steps, and everything hinged on the power of their AI. Step 1, predict, with crazy accuracy, what home prices are going to do. Step 2, use those predictions to go out and buy thousands and thousands of houses. And step 3, flipping fast for a nice little profit. But the whole thing, this whole massive multi-million-dollar gamble, it all rested on that very first step. The AI had to be able to see the future.
And this is where things start to go sideways. This is the part of the story where the clean, perfect computer model runs headfirst into the messy, chaotic, totally unpredictable real world. Because look, no matter how smart your algorithm is, it's still just a model, right? It's a simplified version of reality. And Zillow? Well, they were about to learn that lesson the hard way. A very, very expensive way. You see, the housing market, it's just not like other markets. It is notoriously, insanely hard to predict. Think about it. It's hyper-local. The value of one house can totally change because a cool new coffee shop opens down the street or the school district lines get redrawn. At the same time, it's super sensitive to huge economic stuff like interest rates going up or a bad jobs report. So you've got this mix of tiny neighborhood details and massive global forces, and it all creates this chaotic, volatile environment. It's pretty much the worst-case scenario for an AI that was trained on what happened in the past.
This right here, this is the heart of the problem. It's the huge disconnect between their plan and reality. Zillow's AI was basically built on one giant assumption, that the future would pretty much look like the past, that housing prices would follow these neat historical patterns. But then, the post-pandemic market just threw the rulebook out the window. It went completely off script. And at the same time, they figured, a few small mistakes in our forecasts, we can handle that. But here's the thing. When you're buying thousands and thousands of homes, those tiny little errors, they don't just add up, they multiply, they compound. And suddenly you've got this massive, out-of-control risk on your hands.
So those little cracks in the algorithm, they went from hairline fractures to giant, gaping holes in the company's foundation, and it happened fast. That data-driven dream was turning into a financial nightmare, and the whole thing started to collapse with shocking speed.
And what's crucial to understand is that this wasn't just one thing going wrong. It was a total cascade of failures, a perfect storm. First, you had those forecasting errors we talked about, but now blown up to a massive scale. Second, the real world just hit them like a ton of bricks. They couldn't hire enough people or get enough supplies to fix up and flip the houses fast enough. Third, the market was just moving too damn fast. Their predictions were basically obsolete the moment they were made. And finally, and this might be the biggest one, they just depended way too much on the AI. In the rush to grow, common sense and human judgment kind of got pushed to the side. And the result of all that? This number, over $500 million. Gone. That's the cost of buying thousands of homes for way more than you can sell them for, not to mention all the costs of just holding on to them. It's just a staggering, mind-boggling number that shows you just how big of a gamble this really was. With that much damage, there was really only one thing they could do. They didn't just slow down or pivot, they pulled the plug. Completely. Zillow shut down the entire iBuying division, laid off a quarter of their employees, and just walked away from what was supposed to be their biggest thing ever. The dream was over. Done. Okay, so now what? What's the lesson here looking at the wreckage of this huge project? Because this is more than just a story about one company that made a bad bet. It's a really powerful cautionary tale for all of us about how we use technology, especially AI, and how it fits with strategy and good old-fashioned human judgment.
Look, if you remember just one thing from all of this, let it be this idea right here. AI should inform strategy, not be the strategy. AI is an incredible tool, no doubt. It can see patterns we can't and analyze data in ways we couldn't dream of. But at the end of the day, it's just that, a tool. It's a really smart hammer. It should help you build your strategy, but it shouldn't be drawing the blueprints.
Because when you let the algorithm take the wheel, you're taking on some huge risks. First off, you lose all your flexibility. I mean, if the model is your only plan, what happens when it's wrong? You also just amplify your risk. Every little bug in the code becomes a potential catastrophe. And ultimately, you lose control. You're not driving your own strategy anymore. You're just a passenger along for the ride, hoping the AI knows where it's going.
All right, so let's boil this all down to the key takeaways. First, every single forecasting model has limits. They will all be wrong at some point. The trick is knowing where those limits are. Second, when you make a process bigger, you also make its mistakes bigger. A tiny error on a few deals is no biggie. That same tiny error on thousands of deals is a total disaster. Third, human oversight isn't a weakness, it's a strength, especially when the stakes are this high. And last but not least, a good strategy is about being adaptable, not about being a fortune teller. The real goal isn't to predict the future perfectly. It's to be able to handle whatever the future throws at you.
And this is maybe the most important point of all. It would be so easy to look at this whole mess and say, see, AI is just too risky for business. But that is absolutely the wrong lesson here. Zillow didn't fail because it used AI. It failed because it trusted AI too much. It handed over the keys to an algorithm and placed a blind bet that it would always be right in a world that demanded a human touch.
So that leaves us with one last question to think about. And it's not just for big companies. It's for all of us. In our own work, in our own lives. Where are we trusting a prediction a little too much? Where are we falling in love with a neat and tidy plan and forgetting how important it is to be ready to adapt when reality, as it always does, gets messy?